What's going on in the Naples real estate market? Well, I'm going to show you right now. Let's go. Welcome. I like to jump right into the national news first before going into the Naples real estate market. And what I have here is a chart from George Rateau, who is the senior economist at Realtor.com, that basically states that inventory is an issue, and it might be at an all-time low historically nationwide. And moving right along, I have this chart from Showing Time, and this chart basically shows that there's been an uptick in buyer activity of looking at properties all across every single region. There's been an increase annually with activity for buyers. And that has contributed to low interest rates, which I have here in this chart that shows the various decades from the 70s, 80s, 90s, 2000s, and the 10s that show that in the 2010s, the interest rates were about 4.09%. Well, now that we're into 2020, we're seeing it probably around 3.7%. However, it's probably going to be declining because we have the coronavirus epidemic happening around right now, which is kind of putting some people in fear with real estate. So we'll see what happens with that, with the interest rates for 2020s. And also, I like to mention this chart here, which shows the new construction activity. And that is showing that basically the supply is not being able to keep up with the demand. As you can see in the 2010s, that this is based in the millions, that it's half of the other prior decades. So that is kind of an issue here of why we have such low inventory. And I'd like to show here the buyer traffic chart. The buyer traffic chart still shows that there's a lot of interest with buyers and that it's strong activity. Whereas if you look at this chart here with the seller traffic, it's actually kind of weak. There's only half the country that is stable and the other half is not as far as the selling side. So even though we're somewhat in the buyer's market with the sellers, the reasons that could be contributing to this would be an average person stays in their home longer, as you can see in this bar chart here, up to about 9 to 10 years. Whereas 10 years ago, someone would be more inclined to sell their home on average, staying in there about 6 to 7 years. So people are staying in their homes longer, and also the sellers are building their equity. As you can see in this chart here, from all the various sources that have been pointed out, they believe that there's going to be still an uptick in 2020, 2021, 22, because green is good, nothing's in red. So you can see that it's very advantageous for a seller sometimes to maybe hold on to the homes because they're building that appreciation and that equity in their homes. So this is some of the reasons of why the inventory is so low. Now, moving right along to the Naples real estate market, I have here the infamous NABOR chart, and that's from the Naples Area Board of Realtors. It's a panel of experts, and here is January, because typically what they do is they close out the prior month that comes out about the third week of the new month, and they compare it to 2019 with 2020 with what's happened. And as you can see, everything has increased from sales to condominiums, single family residence, from everything except, if you've guessed inventory, you're absolutely correct. There's been a major decrease of 26%. Now, compared to 2019, there was about 7,500 homes on the market, whereas this January that just passed, it's about 5,700. So as you can see, there's been a big gap that inventory has been somewhat of an issue here. And there is about 6.6 months of average that we have with the inventory being on the market. And it's not as low as some other areas in Florida, such as Miami or the St. Petersburg, Tampa area. So it's really still stable to a certain degree. But in a luxury market, we've seen a 109% increase in a $1 million to $2 million market. So that's pretty amazing compared to last year. And the reasons why is because there's a lot of stock market inertia, which means there's not as many people having confidence in putting their money in the stock market, and they're reinvesting it into real estate as a viable investment, and they keep their money compared to the stock market. So that being said, with the coronavirus, with the stock market, it's no surprise. So if you found this information helpful, please feel free to share it. I thank you for watching. My name is Margaret Hodge with the Epifanio team at Royal Show. And if you have any questions on real estate, whether you're buying, selling, investing, or just simply want to know why Naples rules, please let me know. I'm more than happy to assist you. And in the meantime, stay tuned for next month in March for another market update report.